Why did you have a baby if you didn't want to raise it yourself? Oof, that's a question a lot of working mothers hear, right? Sometimes from other people and sometimes from that little voice inside our own heads. It's just so loaded, so unfair, and man, it can really cut deep. Hello to all viewers of my channel.
Today, we are going to dive headfirst into one of the toughest internal battles of our time. This feeling that you're being forced to choose between your career and being a quote-unquote good mother. It's a dilemma that honestly just traps so many amazing women in this constant, exhausting cycle of guilt.
And to help us really get our heads around this, we're going to be unpacking the brilliant core ideas from Ludmila Petranovskaya's book, #Selfmama. Trust me, it's not just a comforting read. It offers a totally new and powerful way to look at the whole thing. All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to lay out this impossible choice that modern moms are facing. Then we'll take a step back and look at the surprising history of how we even got here in the first place. After that, we'll talk about a concept that is just so liberating, the good enough mother. We'll also get a super practical tool for switching out guilt for responsibility. And finally, we'll totally rethink what real connection with our kids actually looks like. Okay, so here's the root of the problem, right? Modern society is sending mothers two completely opposite messages at the same time. On one hand, you're told, have ambitions, build a career, be this amazing, self-realized person. And on the other hand, the message is, be a totally devoted, always present, perfect mother. And that just creates this endless, no-win situation inside your head. So the internal debate starts spinning, and the first thought is usually, okay, should I go back to work? But then, boom, immediately the guilt kicks in. You start thinking, but won't they miss me? Am I being selfish? Is money really more important than seeing every single milestone?
So then you think, okay, fine. Maybe the answer is just to stay at home. That's got to solve it, right? No more guilt?
But then, what about you? What about all those years of education, everything you've worked for, your identity outside of being a mom, your financial freedom? It just feels like no matter which path you choose, you're losing. But here's the thing. What if this whole choice is the actual problem? What if the premise itself is totally flawed? To really get why this feels so impossible, you have to understand how we ended up in this mess. Because believe it or not, this high-pressure idea of motherhood, where one woman is supposed to do everything all by herself, it's not some ancient biological truth. It's actually really, really new. I mean, think about it. For most of human history, life was all about survival. Kids are part of a huge working community. This choice between work and children, it just didn't exist. It was only after World War II, with the baby boom and the rise of the suburbs, that this image of the isolated, stay-at-home mom became the gold standard. But then, women started entering the workforce in massive numbers, and society didn't really adapt. Instead, the expectation just became that women would, well, do both, perfectly. And out of that crazy expectation, the myth of the supermom was born. So if you take one thing away from this section, let it be this. That immense pressure you feel, it's not a personal failing. You're not doing something wrong. It's the result of a very new and, frankly, completely unsustainable social experiment. And just knowing that, well, it's the first step to setting yourself free. So now that we know where all this pressure is coming from, how do we actually fight back? Well, the book gives us this incredible psychological tool, this antidote to all that crippling perfectionism. First things first, we have to call out the myth we're all chasing, the ideal mother. Oh, you know her. Her kids are basically geniuses by age 3, her house looks like a magazine cover, and she's juggling a high-powered career while also, baking organic muffins from scratch. This image that we see everywhere, it's a fantasy, it's not real, and trying to live up to it is a surefire recipe for burnout. So the alternative is the good enough mother. Now, this isn't about giving up or lowering your standards. It's about setting realistic ones. A good enough mother provides love, she provides safety, she meets her child's core needs. But you know what else she does? She makes mistakes. She gets tired. She is unapologetically human. And it turns out this is actually way better for a child's development because it teaches them that it's okay not to be perfect too. It teaches resilience. Okay, so how do we actually put this into practice? Petranovskaya gives us this absolutely brilliant way to reframe our thoughts, just by drawing a really sharp line between two feelings that we often confuse: guilt and responsibility. This is such a critical difference. Guilt is that vague, heavy feeling that just whispers in your ear, I am a bad mother. It paralyzes you. But responsibility, that's totally different. It's concrete. It looks forward. It says, okay, I missed the school play. That stinks. What is my responsibility now? I am going to make sure we have a really special one-on-one date this weekend.
See the difference? One just drains all your energy, and the other actually empowers you to do something. Spotting which one you're feeling is a total game changer.
And that leads us to probably the biggest fear of all, right? The fear that by working, by not being there every single second of every single day, we are somehow damaging our bond with our child. But what this book asks us to do is to really rethink what attachment and connection even mean.
This quote right here, it just gets to the absolute heart of it. Attachment is not built on the number of hours you clock in. It's built on a child's deep internal knowledge that you are their person. It's that unwavering emotional security of knowing, I have you and you have me. It's knowing that you love them, that they are accepted, and that you will always, always come back. That kind of bond is strong enough to handle periods of separation.
So here's the bottom line. It is not about being physically there every single second. It is about being emotionally present when you are there. It is all about the quality of that connection, not the quantity of time. A child is going to feel way more secure with a happy, engaged parent for 2 hours than they will with a stressed out, resentful parent for 8. So let's just end with this thought. What if letting go of that myth of perfection and embracing the reality of being a good enough mother, a mother who is fulfilled, who is balanced, who is human, what if that isn't a compromise at all? What if that's actually the very best gift, the best model of a full and happy life that you can possibly give your child?
I really hope that gave you a helpful new way to think about things. Subscribe to the channel and like, and also suggest your topics for future videos in the comments.